Would you rather Trump staff his administration with really good people that we all like?
Yeah, I would.
I would too,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah.
So I
People that represent the America, more the America that
And
I
then
like.
what happens?
What do you
And
mean
what happens in 4 years? He gets reelected?
no.
No?
He's not going to get reelected either way.
Well, okay, and I'm never going to say what's going to happen. I'm not going to say it yet. What's going to happen to Donald
Thank
Trump
you, Michael.
electorally? But I do want him to have better people there. I don't want to see the elevation of these people in my country. So I don't. I don't want to see that happen.
I certainly get it. I understand that it puts an ugly face. Why he's bringing racism back into the White House. Not that it's never been there before. It was there very recently. In my lifetime. So my whole thing is like people get freaked out by Bannon, people get freaked out by this. My whole thing is they can't fuck up our foreign policy any worse than it already is. And maybe they could start a war with Iran, maybe, who knows?
Well, but that's fucking it up worse than it is.
So
you just answered it.
Yeah,
I mean, and I don't think it's as fucked up.
Wait, let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
But my point is that the smartest people in the world have fucked it up unbelievably. We ran out of bombs in Syria. Okay, that was a war that people didn't want him bombing in the first place, and he went and did it anyway. That's our president, who, by the way, is handing over no habeas corpus to the surveillance state to those people. That's our president. So this idea that these guys are somehow going to be worse, and they're somehow going to do worse things. Hillary Clinton was on board for turning the Middle East on fire. She did it in Iraq, and then she did it in Libya, and now we're doing it in Syria, and somehow we're still afraid that someone else is going to be worse than the guys that already put us in this position. And the guy, by the way, who's handing over the surveillance state and repeal habeas corpus is your hero.
I wouldn't. First of all, I don't have heroes. Chris Chambliss was my hero. He played first base for the Yankees.
He was pretty good.
And he was good. And he should have been a manager, but we'll get into that later. I don't agree with all of the framing of what you just said. But the point I was making when you asked me the question was that I don't think that these ideologies, no matter what, it's a hard job. They could do great. They could totally screw it up even worse. They could get us into wars, whatever the case. These are not the people that we should be saying that we're sending out into the world. I mean, I don't care. I'm never going to agree with the appointments of Donald Trump, ever. This is the worst of the worst.
Okay. Just to put a button on my point. My point is that, if you really want to get opposition against him, we got to stop looking to corporate Democrats. We got to start looking to people. And the more cretins he puts in his administration, the easier it is going to get to have people and institutions oppose him and oppose his horrible policies. So I think that's the more cretins he puts in his administration. In a weird way, it's a silver lining for the people who oppose them. Because if he put nice people, just like Barack Obama's got a pretty face and everyone likes him. So when he takes away habeas corpus, we all go to sleep. When he lets peaceful protesters get their heads cracked in, whether it's Occupy Wall Street or North Dakota, everybody goes to sleep on the left. Now we have these cretins in there who, if they do the exact same things Barack Obama's been doing, we're all going to stand up against them because now there's a sufficiently ugly face on these bad policies. So that's my point I'm making. And this whole idea that somehow we can fuck up our foreign policy any worse than it already is right now. I'd like to see it.
Well, no, I would not like to see it. And Jimmy, you're going to provoke me into a larger bet than I made with Michael. I guarantee you they will fuck it up worse than Obama, and that it will have horrific consequences. Oh, look, on just Iran alone, they start that war. Obama's minor leagues, okay? Not minor leagues, little leagues in terms of bad foreign policy. If they start a war with Iran.
Jake, right now, Barack Obama is bombing in Syria against everybody there.
No, but
he's
Jimmy,
trying to get.
I know all those problems. I talk about all those problems all the time, Jimmy. But bombing in Syria is bad. Starting a war with Iran is 1,000 times worse.
We've been funding the people.
It is worse.
We've been funding our enemies all through the Barack Obama administration.
Yeah, I know that. Jimmy,
I mean,
know all the
come
problems.
on!
I know all the problems of the establishment. But that doesn't mean a bunch of lunatics running the White House starting wars in the Middle East is a better idea.
You mean bigger lunatics than the ones we've had starting wars in the Middle East?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. I thought you meant the same, different lunatics or the same lunatics. So you just don't want you want the same lunatics, not different lunatics.
No,
More people not starting wars in the Middle East.
That doesn't mean I'm in favor of the establishment, Jimmy. It means I'm also against these guys. Okay, so look, we got a lot of guys to get to, so
Well, my point is that these guys now put the sufficiently ugly face on the ugly policies that the United States has been pushing for the last 16 years, if not longer. So now there's an ugly face on it, so you should be happy that we can oppose this shit now instead of we want better people in there.
Okay, well, we will oppose it, that's for sure.
Do you think Trump's going to deport more Hispanics than Barack Obama or less Hispanics than Barack Obama?
I'm going to go for more.
I would say more. I would say.
So I know Obama broke the record.
Obama broke the goddamn record. So again, the pretty boy face is off this horrible policy that Barack Obama was doing, ripping people out of their houses in the middle of the night, breaking up families,
But it's
numbers of deportations, more deportations of Hispanics than all the presidents combined since 1890.
Well, of course that would happen
this is what has been
now
happening,
anyway.
and no one's been screaming about that. But all of a sudden, Trump is doing it, so now it's a bad thing. That's from Fusion's reporting. That's not being silly. That's actual facts and reporting. So what's silly is to ignore that what has been happening. That's what would be silly. Why would you let me finish talking? Why are you talking over me like this?
You're right.
Why are
I'll
you
let
doing
you
that?
finish. I'll let you finish.
Okay. I finished. Go ahead.
All right. I have nothing else to say.
Okay, good.
Okay.
No, but I mean, to say, I'm not challenging the facts. That's what Fusion said. I'm sure it's 100% accurate. But to compare 1890 Hispanic deportation with 2016 Hispanic deportation.
So you're apologizing for Barack
different.
Obama's policy. That's
I'm not
fantastic, Michael. Good for you. That's what that's called. What you just did.
No, what you just did is called interrupting me after you told me not to do it, and I said, yeah, I'm not going to. So let me.
We
finish.
hate each other.
We hate each other. But really fucking hate each other. But what I'm saying is that it doesn't have to be like everything. The imperfections of Barack Obama are known, right? So you look at what the things that he has done that you don't like, and they are legion, right? That's fine. When you sit and judge this new administration, it shouldn't necessarily always be comparing it to Barack Obama. It's going to be a lot different for dreamers, for example, under Donald Trump than Barack Obama. Immigration is not just about deportations. And yes, the Obama administration did not do a good job. They over-deported. They handled it, I would say, poorly in lots of respects, certainly with Central Americans. That's to me, that's almost factual. I mean, it's an opinion, but it's almost factual. But just because the Obama administration didn't do well doesn't mean that worse is something that we should say and always compare to. This is a disaster, what's coming into this administration right now. This is the most anti-immigrant, and the anti-immigrant side of this is laced with racism.
Michael, we agree on all that.
Yeah, so I just think that sometimes things have to be taken for what they are in the moment and not just, well, this and 1890 and that. That's true. I'm not arguing with the facts that you're throwing at me. But the point is, what happens now that this disaster of a man has been elected president?
So what this can do is highlight the racism that's already endemic in our culture. So now we get to fight back against it because there's an ugly face on it. Right now, 40% of the prison population is African American. They make up 13% of the population. We live in a racist country, but it's been underneath the surface, right? Nobody talks about that. Nobody points out that Barack Obama just spent 8 years presiding over a racist criminal justice system. Nobody talks about that. So now we are talking about it. So now everybody's going to be aware of the horrible shit that our government is already doing. Right now, they're letting peaceful protesters get their heads bashed in at the behest of Barack Obama's donors. Right now. So when Trump is the president, more people will be outraged about the crazy shit that our government is doing right now.
Okay, but they will also do worse. I don't know why it's so hard to acknowledge both things.
I acknowledge both things.
Okay, they're going to do worse.
I'm saying, though, that you guys are acting like this is the end of the world. The end of the world has already come for a lot of people. Okay. The end of the world has already been here, and you ignored it. And so now there's an ugly face, and you want him to switch his appointments? I want him to keep his appointments because now we can fight against it. Now it was the bus riders that changed things for civil rights. It wasn't a fucking politician.
Yeah, but Jimmy, I say that all the time. But every guy that goes down this dark path costs potentially thousands of lives.
We already did it.
No, but Jimmy, we're going to fight against Trump anyway. We know what Trump stands for. Look, I'm willing to keep an open mind on things we might agree with on TPP, etc. But the weight of the evidence based on his prior actions and prior statements, is that he's going to do terrible things and we're going to fight against him.
Yes.
I would rather have someone a little less racist, a little less bigoted, a little less prone to disastrous wars in his administration, because I'm going to fight him either way. I'm going to beat him either way. I just don't want as many people killed and destroyed in the meanwhile.
Not to mention what it does if you are watching Jeff Sessions, who is an overt racist, elevated to the job of Attorney General. That sends a bad message in and of itself, forgetting who is president now, tomorrow, yesterday. This man is an overt racist, has been, his policies have been racist, and he's being named to the Attorney General's
agree,
position.
and hopefully...
So maybe, and it may sound hokey, but to live in a country where this guy doesn't get confirmed, that would be great. Not to confirm him and hate him.
Yeah, because after a while, he just won't. I just think it'll be normal. It'll seem fine. He will have been Attorney General Jeff Sessions. And as much later on, like that stink of the fart when you walk into the room won't smell as bad. But it's still a terrible smell. You'll just grow accustomed to it. So why let someone fart in your room in the first place?
That's right.
Always been my message.